Welcome to No Such Thing as Normal podcast with Natalie Hayes and Jess McKeown.
This is a casual podcast where we talk about all the things you're not supposed to talk about in order to help you normalize your real life, because really we're all just a bunch of weirdos having a completely human experience in a society that asks us to pretend like we're not.
And I'm your host, Jess, a gifted spirit baby medium who facilitates deep soul healing by channeling divine messages.
I'm your other host, Natalie, an intuitive mentor and transformative healer.
Be sure to subscribe where you listen to podcasts, watch our 100% unedited episodes on YouTube, and you can also follow us on Instagram at McJaguar and at Intuitively Natalie for more weirdo and woo-woo content.
And if you like this episode, please share it on your social media pages. Please share, please be sure to rate and review it as well. Yeah, words are hard today. Please be sure to rate and review where you listen to podcasts so that more people can find us and unleash their weird with you.
Yes, words are hard today. We delayed our podcast recording by an hour because both of us actually were feeling a little sluggish this morning. I was like hurrying to get my coffee. And then I get this little note from Natalie that's like, can we have another hour? And I was like, yes, I'll meditate. Did I meditate? No.
You didn't meditate?
No. I got into like chatting with people. God, I'm so chatty. People text me, things are going on. We have these little mini conversations and, an hour goes by.
You would think you were a Gemini.
I feel like strong Gemini vibes sometimes.
You're a Gemini sympathizer.
I think it's funny because the article I was reading was about procrastination. And, I haven't been meditating lately.
Oh, what's going on with that?
Yeah, well, because I know a big download is coming for my business. And you guys, my guides have been popping in. They popped in with Natalie this morning. I got a fresh Reiki haircut from Kind Witch Molly. I'll tag her on Instagram, but thank you, Kind Witch Molly, for my awesome fun hair. And she's intuitive and I got downloads there. And so my guides are just like clamoring at the gates to get me in meditation. And I am just so Aries and so just like, not today, la, 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 la. I'm really good at avoiding. I don't know why, but part of it with like being an intuitive business person is really being ready to receive that. And I have like so much stuff kind of going on and I don't really have the space and time and presence yet to download what I know is coming. And my guides know that. They're just lovingly being like, how about now? What about now?
What about today?
Yeah. And I mean, I sometimes also too, I just receive such trippy stuff in my meditation that I'm like, what am I going to do with this today? So it's like, there's a part of me that just like wants to be like, living in a cave, receiving downloads, doing the stuff. Yeah. But then also there's like, got to make my coffee and got to go to the post office.
Chat with my friends. Yeah.
Chat with my friends. So it's like, how do you balance being like an intuitive business person? That's what we're chatting about today is being an intuitive business, because I've been in business for 3.5 years now doing intuitive business work. And Natalie?
Oh, 3, it'll be 3 in February, 3 years.
Oh, see, so we're just like, we're in this peak right now where we're kind of like, we've maybe made a couple of changes to what we started out with.
Lots of changes.
What did you start out doing? What was the first thing you started out doing?
I started out, which I think is a mistake a lot of people make, but I want to go back. It's not a mistake.
Okay.
I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I started where I did. I just kind of like opened my doors and was like, I do Psych K, come in.
And like, when you opened those doors, did you get all kinds of people?
I got all kinds of people. And actually like, cause you attract people based off your frequency that you're putting out. So I attracted a lot of like very aligned clients that worked with me over and over and over. And we dealt with like so many issues, and that in itself was really fulfilling. And I think if you're just starting out in your business, that might not be a bad strategy to just open your doors wide for like 6 months to a year and see who you work with, what you like working with. Like, I honestly, I had no idea. I hired a business coach way before I should have. It was like, I didn't even know what I wanted to do, like how I wanted to help people, who I could help, what I could help them with. I just knew like, I want a business, so I'm going to hire a business coach. And it was just like, it was a mess. It was just a very disappointing experience.
Because like, do you feel like when's a good time to hire a business coach? Like 6 months in, a year in, like, do you feel like there's like a better timeline? Like maybe you do some experimenting and then you kind of are like, okay, I think I'm a little bit more narrowed down, or this feels like a good niche. And now I want to like, work with
Yeah.
somebody to kind of build that out.
I feel like business coaches, at least the ones that I have come across, are for scaling. They're for growing and utilizing different strategies. Like, here's what hasn't worked for me. So like, let's talk about other ways to do things. I think that's what business coaches are really good for, but I am actually moving into some kind of business coaching, but it's different because I'm going to be like a start your business coach. It's like what I wish I had when I was first starting, so that I wasn't just like floundering and spending thousands of dollars.
I love that. No more. I'm just imagining like a little Natalie as a fish floundering around.
Very emotional.
I mean, I think I started out doing energy work. And because I took this energy healing training and a lot of gifts opened up in that training. So I was like, oh, this must be it. Right. This must be my thing. Right. Yeah. Hello. I don't know. Does anybody else do that? Where they're like, this is working. It must be my thing. It could be your thing. It could be a stepping stone, which I've learned. A lot of things that I felt good about or excited about, or whatever. And then I moved on from and had to grieve, I realized we're just getting me to the next point. But I would do like hands-on or above the body energy work. And it was really fun. But I was like, I said to my guides, because I would get information, like a lot of information, like, downloads as I was like moving over, and I like try to tell people. And I was just like, this energy work it's too slow. It's too hard for me to like sit there and wait for the energy to move. And so I just started like talking to people. And I think when I started doing like the first level of like kind of intuitive stuff, I was like, whoa, I can like get paid to talk to people. Like I can get paid to like have a conversation with people and like bring in this divine information. Like, I just thought it was like the bee's knees. I was like, this is it. This is what I found. This is all I want to do forever for the rest of my life.
Just want to talk.
Then you do that for 3.5 years and you're like, okay, ready for something new. So I don't know. I think that's the other thing too. It's like constantly evolving. And I think this concentrated time in the pandemic has really allowed me to see like how much I have evolved and how different I am from 2.5 years ago, 3.5 years ago, to today.
Yeah. I think that like, generationally, with all of this like timeline shifting and time is moving so much quicker and people are evolving at a faster rate, like technology is evolving so much faster. It's like that old work paradigm that we saw our parents go through, where you like start entry level and then you work your way up and you stay with the same company for like 50 years. Like that actually doesn't work for us anymore. Like that doesn't work anymore. You have to be able to pivot. You're not a stagnant creature. And I mean, we can see that, stagnant did not serve the boomers very well. So,
well, I was going to say the spirit babies will not have it.
No, they won't.
They, so many of them are like, I don't know what I'm going to be, but I'm going to do this. And they don't come in with careers. Some of them still do. Some of them still have, they want to complete or finish a career path that they were on before. But a lot of these starseeds coming in are just like, I'm here to heal the earth.
I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah. And I was like, to the parents, I'm like, so you're going to have to help them find money and a career and a pathway that allows them to live, but also heal the earth. So, a lot of these starseeds aren't used to having like jobs. I put that in big fat quotes, where they have to, the spirit babies are saying mundane was what they call it.
We're breaking that. Like that is crumbling. That is a system that's crumbling.
Yeah. So, be ready for it. Right. And maybe start to like pull in some other sources for wisdom. So like, I like to pull in the moon cycles. I like to pull in the astrology things. I like to look at the seasons, and I like to use that in my business planning. And I'm about to go into business planning for 2022. So I will look at all that stuff. I'll pull some cards. Like, how do you like plan? Like I have a whole thing I do for my business. I pull cards. I look at the moon cycles. I pull it for different calendars. Like I pull for the witch's wheel.
Oh,
I mean, it's so fun.
That's so fun.
Then I go back every month and I look at like, okay, what did I pull for October? What's the theme this month? I read my astrology report. I look at the Schumann resident, I look at all the things. Like you should see me. I'm like a little witch with all my technology things. Like it's so great being a modern witch.
I know. I love adding like all of that stuff into business. Like that's my jam. I don't want to like, what's financially forecast for the next quarter? Let's just pull something out of my ass to talk about. I think what I really like to do, and I had a virtual assistant for a couple of months and she taught me a lot about like content planning, and it's not scary. Like I'm a Virgo sympathizer, but I'm not a Virgo. I recently created a content calendar, right? I'm going to go just month by month. It's not overwhelming for me. And I'm going to like, I have, consistency. The algorithm on social media likes consistency. So I'm posting 3 times a week, same time, same days for that consistency. But I actually have started like, I just sit and I meditate like the week before. I just did it for December. The week before the month starts, I'll sit and I'll pull cards for every post. Like, this is what I'm going to talk about this day. This is what I'm going to talk about this day. This is what I'm going to talk about this day. And then like the week before, I'll go in and write captions for the next week. So it's like, I'm pulling topics, which is not overwhelming. And then I'll go and I'll like course correct if I need to the week before I'm actually going to post it. And that's actually really helped a lot. And it's kind of fun.
That is a way fun idea to business plan. Do you use the same deck? Do you have like a business deck kind of thing? You just kind of whatever intuitively.
Whatever deck.
I should have known.
Look at all these decks.
Knowing your name intuitively, Natalie. Do you use the same deck? No. That is a good idea. I like that because that then makes it like fun to content plan. I mean, I used to do content planning and strategy for my living, so maybe I'm a little bit like, like stay away.
Might have a lot of conditioning around it.
Probably have too much conditioning around it. I think too, like my current strategy for social media, which is probably not a strategy. It is. It's just like, I just want it to be fun right now. Mm-hmm. I'm changing. I'm not opposed to like deleting everything on my Instagram. Oh, I love doing just, crazy Aries putting it down. Yes. Like, and I did it one time and people were like, why did you do that? And I was like, oh, I didn't know that you were like looking at my old posts. But I feel like I want to come up with a better way to interact on social media. And so that's one of the things that I'm taking into my cocoon time is, just weighing all the information that we have about Facebook and Instagram and all that data with looking at other platforms, with looking at where I want to go. And, that's scary. It's scary to leave a platform. It's scary to move to a new platform. It can be. I can be, but it's like, there's a lot of like unknowns, but I'm kind of at this place where I'm like, I'm excited to maybe like try YouTube or get on Twitter or like see what these other platforms have that, are less evil.
Are they? Are they?
I don't know. I have some, like, we'll call them like my woo-woo friends, whatever. They're like, well, I just create a happy little bubble on Instagram and, da, da, da. And I think about that too. And it's like, I kind of saw Instagram was like a mall and you're like, well, you have like a good eco-friendly, given the love shop, but like the mall, you're still in this, like, people have to go through the mall to get to your shop. It's like, they're gonna maybe get slimed a little bit. And like, I just saw that company Lush, who makes like those bath bombs, and they're a bit like much for me, but they're like coming off of social media platforms because it doesn't align with their business values. So I've seen a couple other people start to like make those statements, and that kind of makes me nervous and excited. And so I know whenever I see other business people making big, bold moves and it elicits something in me, I'm like, ooh, I want to do that, but I'm scared. And so I need to like look at like, what's the fear of like losing people, losing that connection,
How will people find you?
Yeah, right. And of course, like when you're in that space, you're like, nobody will find me. My business will crash. But it's like, that's, I think part of it is taking those risks, and whenever I get downloads for people around risks, Spirit's always like, you can always come back. You can always try again.
Right. It's not like permanent.
Yeah. Most things aren't permanent, guys.
Most things are not permanent.
Especially in business. My goodness.
Oh yeah. You can change as much as you want. It doesn't matter. Like your business is essentially, it's you. So like whatever's working for you at the time might not work for you in a couple weeks. So pivot.
Yeah. And I think, there is people like, oh, I have this website or I have this Instagram handle and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, yes, there's always going to be like switching costs, right? Like, okay, when you started your business, you were like health coach Natalie, right? And
Right.
then you're like, oh, I need a new Instagram title. Well, luckily you can change handles, and luckily you can, update new websites, and you can forward things, so these are just tactical reasons to kind of move forward with your ever evolving self. And I think that's the thing that I just learned in this change was like, just because you're in a spirit business doesn't mean that you still don't have to be active and aware of your own trappings of like, here I was just getting comfortable. And then I was like, oh, I don't want to just do one-on-one sessions forever, And then I was like, oh, I'm the boss. I can change it. And that's like the best part, I think, about being an entrepreneur or being your own business person is like, you're in charge.
I know. I guess this morning, I had a little too much tequila last night. I'll be really honest. And I was dragging. Could not. I did get a good sauna in though. That's my Black Friday splurge. I bought a sauna.
I'm obsessed with your sauna.
I've
told like 12 people and I'm like, Natalie has a sauna. Natalie has a sauna. So like much. A kid, I'm like, Natalie has a sauna. I want a sauna.
Get a sauna. Oh my God. It's TheraSage. They have like very low to like little to no EMFs, which is important in a sauna because you don't want to radiate yourself. You want the benefits, not x-rays.
You don't want to be barbecued.
Right. You don't. You really don't. You like your ovaries. You like your thyroid. You don't want to fry them.
Oh my God. So but this was like your gift to yourself as an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah. Cause I quit, nursing. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Still fresh. Still really liking it though. And I took this risk, and it was a big risk. And then we, sold a house, paid off our cars. So we were just like we deserve nice things.
Yeah.
We worked really hard. Not that work has to be hard. And bought a sauna, bought a treadmill too. Pretty excited about that.
Whoa. Watch out, world.
Watch out. But like, I get to decide.
Red and sweaty people.
Yes. But like, I get to decide. So like, okay, my morning routine as an entrepreneur is going to be like, I'm going to work out and I'm in a sauna and then I'm going to start my day. Like, I love owning my own business. I really love it.
You would have texted me that though and said, I had too much tequila and need to sweat it out.
It smells like a bar in my basement.
I actually had mezcal yesterday.
Ooh, too smoky for me.
Oh, really? Oh, this was beautiful. And I had a really lovely brunch with friends. And what was so funny was the restaurant was by this woman named Christy Brown. Her brand is That Brown Girl Cooks. And I met her a long time ago, 2018, right? That feels like forever ago in this networking group. And then like come full circle, here I am now like eating at her restaurant. And so I think like that kind of made me think of like the importance too of like networking.
Huge.
Right? Like as you're growing your business, as you're like getting other intuitive friends, being in intuitive groups, like having coffee with other intuitive entrepreneurs. Like, I think that has been just a saving grace. One, just to be like, to just like, brainstorm and also like bitch with, like what the fuck this client or what the fuck this business thing or this, reporting thing or whatever it is. And like, as a small business owner, you have to, I think, like connect with other people to really like, it just helps streamline information and flow and gives you ideas. And I don't know, my guys are just saying like some people like to just work quietly and independently, but as a Gemini sympathizer, I'll say that networking is one of those strategies that pays off long-term.
It does. Like,
it's
look at where
super
we
awkward
are.
in the beginning. Yes. It's super awkward in the beginning and you have to go and like do the thing in the business. Oh my God, how many business cards did I buy from Moo? Because you go to these like damn business networking events when you're like, there's more spiritual business networking stuff now, which is like, yay people. But so like nice. Back in the day, I was with like, lawyers and accountants and other people and you had to like, everybody put in a business card. And I was just buying like hundreds and hundreds of business cards. Let me tell you, I don't think I got one damn thing from one of those business cards, but it was like what you can throw in. And I spent so much time and energy, like creating business cards.
Oh my God. Lord. But did you enjoy the business cards or were you doing it because you thought you had to?
I was doing it because I thought I had to.
See, that's what happens.
Yeah. They're like, you have to like you have to bring all these business cards and there's 25 people here and you have to give one to everyone. And I was like, okay. And I think it was an old school way of networking and connecting that I was just like other places where you're just connected online. You eliminate that layer of then having to like type in or email this person. I would just be like, give me your email and I'll send you an email right now. I just trying to get like connected faster. But it's been helpful to like meet other people and talk about things and just, I don't know. What about you? What do you think? Have you done some like networking?
Well, I worked with an intuitive a couple of years ago, and she was like, get into a collective. So we kind of met through Three Moon Collective, like kind of. I met the
Shout
Sage
out to
Sisters through
Hannah.
them. Yeah. Shout out to Hannah. So joining a collective was actually really fun for me to just be out there and be like, oh, I don't offer this service, but somebody else in this collective does, like just for referral base.
Yes.
But I love that you brought up that you didn't get any business from the business cards that you didn't actually want to do, because that is so important as like a woke entrepreneur. Like you can't just do things because you've been told you have to do them, because then that's the energy you're putting out with that, and you're not going to attract anything. Like if you hate social media as an entrepreneur, don't do social media. Do in-person events, do networking in person in your local community. Like whatever feels good for you is going to be the avenue that opens up that flow for income. Like do not do things you don't want to do.
Lesson and rule.
Don't do it.
But like to your point, we've been so conditioned time and time again to do things that we don't want to do because of so many other reasons. So I think that is a big learning as you become an entrepreneur. You will definitely face those old patterns. And I saw those. I saw my old habits at work show up in my entrepreneurial business. And I was like, oh, I thought it was the work situation and environment that created these. And maybe it did, but I've definitely carried them over. And so I had to do a lot of like unpacking and looking at and changing things around. But I agree. Like I like having my own schedule. I like being able to be in my pajamas today. I like being able to take a yoga break or a walk break, I probably like it too much.
I love it. Like, I don't know that I could go back to being an employee. I feel like it wouldn't go well for anybody. Back to being an employee.
They're like, where's Natalie? Like she's taking a nap.
She felt like it. Like my energy is low today. I can't
come in
I
today.
need to rearrange my schedule.
Hey, can we start this meeting an hour later? Because I
can't.
Oh, but like, I think that was part of my yearning and not knowing that I was a projector back in the mid 2000s, but just that like, it didn't feel right having to be like in a space from 9 to 5. Like I always question that. Always. And so like, I think about that too. Like, what are you questioning? What don't you like about certain situations? Because I think when you get into entrepreneur land, the other thing is the world is your oyster. You can really do anything. And yes, you're kind of like pulling from like maybe like business tactics or ideas or courses and stuff to kind of give you that framework, but it's so cool to be able to create anything. And I would always reach a limit in corporate America where it was like, well, you're not like the decision maker, or we can't go beyond that. And I was just like, well, that's dumb. I want to send an email today. So
I'm going to send an email today.
Yeah.
And I do it anyway. I think that's hours also huge. Your business can work for your life. I don't know if anybody's told you that. Like you can be successful with a business that is a really good work-life balance for you. That doesn't look like what you've seen maybe, but the conditioning around like the 40-hour work week comes from school. Like our school system, the education system was established during the Industrial Revolution. So like they're literally trying to just pump out the perfect worker who will sit still from 8 to 5. Like that's why our school system operates the way that it does now, Monday to Friday, 8 to 5 or whatever, because they are conditioning kids. We were conditioned to be the perfect worker.
And we broke the mold.
I want to work 20 hours a week. Like that's my max. That's what I'm comfortable with. And I don't want to work any more than that. And that's okay.
I know when I hear people, like when I look at the total number of like session hours that I've worked, which is not as much as the total hour, but like sometimes that's what people work in like a week.
I know.
And if you're working 80-hour weeks, please stop.
Do you like it? Yeah. Like you don't have to like it.
Yeah. That just seems like a lot of energy and time. And I think a lot of what I've been getting lately from Spirit is like, we're not just our jobs, but like, especially in America, we're like, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? That's a lot of where we spend our time and energy. And if you're not enjoying that, it ripples out and affects all other areas of your life. It
really does.
And if you like, don't know how to like figure it out, there are courses and classes and places to help you figure out what it is. And I think all you need to do is dedicate your time and energy to figuring it out. Mm-hmm. All I need to do to get this download for what's next for my business is create the time and space to receive it. Right.
Yeah. That's half the battle.
And I think that's what I think I was doing your course. Like class 1, class 2. Mm-hmm. But that's the part of it. It's like, you have to take time and space for yourself to figure out, how do you want to feel? What do you want? I mean, that was pertinent for me. I never really like stopped to think about what I want. I was always doing what other people wanted me to do.
A lot of people, I feel like, don't know what they want. A lot. Yeah. Like, I didn't know what I wanted. I thought I knew what I wanted, but it was really just what I was taught to want. And then I found out I didn't want that. I actually don't want this.
We learned the hard way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that you can learn the easy way.
Yeah.
But I think that's true.
That's why that's the whole basis behind, I did like a limited release of this course I'm launching in January. It's called the Intuitive Entrepreneur. I did like a Black Friday sale. I only released the first module of content because I don't want it to like overwhelm the holidays. Like, just marinate in this first module, and then we'll like dive in January. But
yeah,
I'm re-releasing it in January, and it's like the course to get you to spend the time to figure out, okay, what do I actually have to offer? What do I enjoy doing? Who could I reasonably help doing that? So like, if you're feeling called to entrepreneurship, but you're like, where the fuck do I start? Like, this is where you start. This is the course. This is where you start.
If somebody's never even carved that time out for themselves, right? So say we take your course, we carve out that time, but they're still maybe like staring at a blank page. Like, how do you maybe help people kind of get into the space to actually like reflect on their life? Because I've done a lot of those things. Like, I did this limiting beliefs one, and they're like, what are your limiting beliefs? And I was like, I don't know. I like sat there, and then, there's like some little clues and stuff, but like, how do you get people to like create that space?
They have to want it. And I think there's a lot of like stuff going on astrologically. Like, sometimes spirit will plant the seed, but like, you're not ready to take action. They're just like, I want this in your field of awareness. Some people are like, boom, awareness, boom, action. But like, you have to be ready to take action and really invest in that potential version of yourself. Like, you have to be ready to invest in it. That's why it's not free. And
is that like a feeling? Like, how will people know? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, or like, maybe I want to be there, but I'm not there yet. What can I do to get myself there?
I love this quote, and I forget, I think it might be Elizabeth Gilbert.
Okay.
Favorite author. Love her so much. She says like, change can't happen unless the person in question gets tired enough of their own bullshit. Ooh. Like, you have to be, I feel like for me anyway, like, I have to be so tired of my own shit for like that change to really kick in and be like, okay, well, I the only thing I can do is change. If you're sick of being an employee, there's going to come a day where you're like, fuck this.
It feels so diabolical though. Like, can't we help people get to like change sooner than like, I'm so fucking sick of my bullshit. I feel like, okay, if that's like a spectrum, yes. Like that's like rock bottom. That's like, I can't go anymore. Tired of my bullshit. Yes. Then the only place is up, AKA change. But can we help people like not drop down and like be more open to change, more creating, in that space? Like, how do we get them through the stickiness, or how do we get them comfortable with change? You know what I mean?
I feel like slow change works much better for some people. So like, I created this course to work with your life, like your current life. Like, there's no pressure to quit your job the second this course ends. Like, you build it while you still have your current job. So you're like working towards your dreams without like the pressure of having to make your dreams work for you immediately.
Yeah.
And I think that's important when it comes to change. It's just like, start taking those little steps, start making those little investments in this potential, like, and it will come, it will get there. And I actually did want to talk about today, why overnight success doesn't work.
Ooh.
My guys have been like, I had this unrealistic expectation of capitalism, right? Like, I got invited on Natalie Miles' podcast. That's how people found me.
Okay.
I got like so many bookings the first weekend that I launched my business because of this podcast, this platform. And then it just like fucking fizzled. But I was like, oh yeah, this is great. This is forever. Like, I'm just going to keep getting like more and more and more. And like, my Saturn's in Capricorn. That's not the work. The work for me is in building. And that's why these course launches that I've had haven't been like my year's income in one course launch. Like selling overnight success, I feel like is doing a lot of people a real disservice because that's not everybody's path. Like
That's true.
there is so much to be gained from building your own process.
Yeah.
Like going through the motions and building, and each launch is more, but it's never more than you can handle because like the universe won't ever give you more than you can handle.
I love that. I love that idea. And I think it is so important to really think about like that, the bigger picture of why you're doing this, and yeah, like the lessons that I've learned, like I can pass them on to people, but like until you have like made those mistakes yourself or learned those lessons the hard way or whatever it is. And the more than now, what I see when I see things that kind of like agitate me, I'm like, oh, this is a lesson. That's kind of what I meant about like, maybe like the not having to go to rock bottom. Like I already know that I'm getting messages from my guides and they're like, it's kind of like this. And the more I ignore it, the further down I go towards my own bullshit.
Yeah.
But the closer that I go, okay, what can I do about this? I can stay in this like steady place of like creation and creativity and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Versus like having to deal with like the dropping down of the emotions. But I don't know. I mean, I don't think I would have found being a spirit baby medium had I not gone on a search to figure out what was happening in my life and why I was seeing things and hearing things. And I mean, I was a yoga teacher, right? And I was interviewing for a job to teach yoga at the studio when this woman whose power animals I saw so vividly was like, oh, you should go get some help with the shamanism stuff. And that led me to the next and the next thing. So I think sometimes you have to have these maybe even intense, unknown experiences because you're the type of person that will be like, well, what the fuck is going on? I'm going to go figure this out. And that leads you to your next teacher, your next person, your next course, your next whatever. Right. So like, that's kind of like following that flow.
You just have to start. Like, that's the best advice. Like you just have to start making that little, maybe you do buy that course. Maybe you work with that coach once a month. Like, but don't get so caught up on it being an overnight success. It's just, that's so like, I feel like that's 1% of the population's path. Overnight success.
And like, the thing is, even with people who have overnight success and, you know, whether it's social or monetary or other reasons, like a lot of times that's a lot for people to handle. Right. And like when you have a system built and you plan for success or set goals for success, then you can actually receive it. You know, like sometimes people's like websites crash, you know, they get like their cute little jewelry featured on Oprah accidentally. And then all of a sudden there's
everything
like,
goes down. Yeah.
Nobody can buy their stuff. Right. So it's like, you also want to be ready for success, and you have to like think about that. And I think what's hard is like, sometimes you're like, I want to make $1 million, you know, but it's like, yeah, girl, like what would you have to do to make $1 million?
Well, the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. So what are 7 things you can do to generate income?
I love that you know this. I feel like you read like these little like articles and I'm imagining with your glasses, like, did you know?
I don't know how this information actually comes to me.
Is it being like channeled or downloaded? You're so cute. You're like full of facts and knowledge today. I'm not.
I don't know. And I just had this realization. I feel like my priorities have really shifted over the past year too. I don't think I want to be a millionaire. Like Jenna and I were taking a walk through our neighborhood yesterday and we were just like, I don't want much more than like, they say that they say you're not more happy over 75,000 a year. Like that's like peak happiness. And like, why is there so much emphasis on becoming a millionaire as like the, I don't know, the pinnacle of success? Like, oh, I made $1 million, now I'm a success. But like, all I want to do is be comfortable. So like we paid down debt. So we have more financial freedom. Like that doesn't mean I'm making $1 million a year. I don't know. I might be making like 60K a year, but I am like so happy and comfortable in this space.
Yeah.
So check your expectations. Why do you want $1 million? What's that really going to get you?
Yeah.
I don't want a bigger house to clean.
Well, you probably have house cleaners if you, at that level.
I don't want to. Like, I don't want that.
Do you like cleaning your own house?
No, but I also don't want to pay anybody to do it.
I love it. I used to really love cleaning. It used to be kind of meditative and not so much anymore. No, I think that's right. I think the universe often will they tell me a lot, like, what do you want? What's happy to you? And I think it was like Danielle Laporte way back in the day, all the people that I've, accessed and everything. But the thing that really shifted for me with her work was, how do you want to feel?
Yeah, exactly.
And I never thought about that. I was always like, get this money or get this promotion or get this thing.
And then the feelings come. Yeah.
Right. And she was like, start with the feeling. And that was like, that's when I was doing like that abundance manifestation kind of work and understanding that. And I was like, yeah, how would it feel? And so fast forward, when I was calling in clients for myself, and I think I've told this story, and I totally would love for somebody to try and let me know if it works for you too. But like, I would just be like, Spirit, fill my 1 o'clock. Spirit.
It doesn't work for me. I've tried it.
You got to believe, Natalie. But I was like, what would it feel like? Then my next goal was like, what would it feel like to start my month fully booked? Mm-hmm. Sorry guys that I manifested that, by the way. No, but like, I was like, what would it feel like? And then I like got there and I was like, holy crap, like everything that's coming in now, like I'm a month ahead in terms of like finances, in terms of like things coming in and that kind of stuff. And it was really cool. Downside to that was like, when my father passed away and I had to cancel 19 clients because they were all booked ahead. So it kind of like made me realize like, okay, how do I really want to, you got to like try things out and see how they resonate with you, because you won't know if it works for you unless you like experience it, and then you're like, oh, this actually, this is great, but also maybe I only want to book 2 weeks out so that if things are happening in my life, I can have that flexibility. Right. Now I didn't know my dad was going to pass away, but it's things like that with like as an entrepreneur, I think it's lovely to have like different schedules and move things around and be flexible.
I agree. I love that. And sometimes I'll be like, okay, fill my 1 o'clock next Tuesday. And then like Spirit won't. And then like that Tuesday, I don't feel like having clients. Like that Tuesday comes around, I'm like, I don't feel like doing this today. So like sometimes Spirit really has your back when they're not answering your phone.
Okay. So that is true also. And probably why my guides say our tips haven't worked is because that's happened to me too. 100%. I'll be like, fill it. And then something crazy will happen, or I'll need the day or whatever. Yeah. And I've been grateful for that. Even sometimes when the client cancels or has to move, I'm like, I almost wanted to ask you if you can move. So yeah, I trust that, and I think my guides are like, they feel bad about their advice. It's kind of like this idea of like what they said for me it was, and maybe you don't need this as much, Natalie, but like for me, it was a trust exercise. Like if I asked and I needed to trust them that they would help me, the universe provides what you need when you need it most. I needed to really learn that. And so this was their way that they executed it. And it could work for you, but it could also be that you need another method.
Yeah. It's all about trust.
Yeah.
It's honestly, like everything boils down to trust. You just have to trust that the universe is going to come through on what you want.
But like, I have a marketing background, right? I know what to do to market to people. And I was like, I don't want to do any of that. No. I want to do it this way. And I want to see if it works. And I want to prove that it works. And so far, so good. So
yeah,
take that marketing degree. No.
It's just conditioning.
No, I actually didn't want to be a marketer. I was a communications, I was a journalist, I was a truth seeker, but I got offered a job in marketing, and that's where I literally like sold my soul to the devil.
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah. And if you have sold your soul to the devil in your job and your work, I have empathy for you because, you thought it was going to work out and you thought it was going to be great. that devil, they're tempting. But I hope that if you're realizing that you've done that you can find a way out, and you can find Natalie's course, you can find, people to help you kind of reorient to what you really want to do. And you can do it. It's hard. It's scary at times. It could be all those things that Natalie says to clarify so we don't call in the bad vibes. Yeah. But, I think when I say that, it's like, maybe I'm just saying like, I empathize with those feelings and those thoughts, and you can do hard things and you will get through it.
And also doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah.
And it might not make you $1 million overnight, but maybe it makes you enough to where you still get to pick up your kids from school. And you don't have to rush around from work. Let's reframe what success looks like. That's why capitalism doesn't work. Billionaires are ruining the country. I feel like
don't be one of them.
Perfectly happy being like middle class. You might have an abundance of time to spend with your kids and invest in your business. If you're not like, I have to make $1 million, like what's realistic for you? Pay down your debt.
Yeah.
And also the market's not oversaturated. If that's something you need to hear that's been stopping you from becoming an entrepreneur,
Ooh.
there is more than enough room for you and your special skills. That's why you're here.
I definitely faced that. I definitely thought, no, who needs another
There's
psychic?
too many.
There's
yeah.
literally like 1-800 psychic line.
Yeah.
And like, 99 cents a minute. And I was just like, you should see my early spreadsheets and research in my, what is it? SWOT analysis. You guys, I did a SWOT analysis of the industry when I was entering it.
Virgo.
No, but I like that idea of like, that comfortableness and thinking about what it is that you really want and redefining it. And I'm realizing every time I talk to you on this podcast, like I have to correct myself because so much of my verbiage around this is it's hard, it's challenging. And I'm trying to like meet people where they are and because I understand that viewpoint. But I think what's new for me, which I want to try on, is just trying on the like, oh, it's so easy for me to write this email. Oh, because that feels fake to me right now, right? That feels like fake it till you make. I don't believe it, right? So, well, yeah, I want to believe it though. That's the good thing. And so I want to try this on because I know when I switch my beliefs and patterns around other things, the results have been amazing. So I also want to invite in this aspect too, that like, it doesn't have to be hard.
Just because it's challenging doesn't mean it's hard. It's just different. It's new.
Oh, so maybe I just redefine what challenging is.
Yeah. I feel like people oftentimes equate work with hard or like challenging with like, just because something requires effort does not also make it hard. Those are not synonymous.
No effort, please. I mean, I think in that, and since honestly, my guys are saying this, if you kind of are in that funny space where you're like, but I just want it to happen. You probably were like a star being where you could just instantly manifest stuff. And now you're human.
You're probably an alien.
Welcome. You're probably an alien. And it sucks that you don't have those powers anymore.
Yet. I feel like they'll come back.
Ooh. Well, and it's like, how can you bring them through via the human body, right? Like it's the same access, I would assume.
I don't know. I tried to close a drawer that was across the room with my mind the other night and it didn't work. I just feel like we're not there yet.
Okay. That Roald Dahl book, Matilda, when she like tries to like move things with her mind. I fucking did that as a kid. I was like,
oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I actually saw a TikTok where you can start to work with your shadow. They have like a pencil on a piece of paper, right? And it's like below their shadow, they have a light shining down, and then they get their finger close to the light. So there's a shadow on the pencil. Okay. And then they move their finger and it moves the fucking pencil with their shadow. It's like how you practice your telekinesis.
Okay. Yeah. Cause it's not the shadow, it's your energy, but the shadow allows you to like visualize it. Yeah.
That you're pushing it, but you're not actually touching the pencil.
Oh yeah. But I've done that. I've done energetic pushes to people. Have you ever done that?
No, I tried to shut a door with my mind and it wouldn't work.
Okay. Do this with Jenna. Have Jenna first, have her comply. Poor Jenna. We always throw her into all our experiments. We're like, Jenna, we should bring our partners on one time and be like, these are the people we talk about. But we did this in our shamanic training. You have a person standing in front of you. You can do this with your kids, your partner, your friends. It's fun, I think. And you put your hands out and you start to like push. And energetically, and you're just like, and no joke, every single person starts to step forward and you've never touched them. It's so fucking cool.
It's so cool working with energy. I have worked with energy like that and like feeling somebody's aura. Somebody's energy field around them, like playing with that and how they can always tell when somebody is touching their aura.
Ooh, yeah.
Even though their eyes are closed.
Don't touch my aura.
So I've played with energy like that. I just like was very disappointed that I couldn't close it with my mind.
I'm like imagining you in like a year being like freaking bewitched and being like boom, 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 like things are flying in your closing cabinets. I'm like gonna come visit you and you just like close that door. I'd be like, oh, I see your practices are
I'm gonna figure it out.
What's the reason behind wanting to close the door with your mind that you want to like cool factor? But also important if you can't like reach it. Yeah. I love that. That's what you do in the evening. See, this is why we have 3 friends. And we like, what'd you do tonight? Practice closing a door with my mind. What'd you do?
I tried. I really did.
Yeah. No, I think that's cool. And I don't know. It's like, that's how you gain access to that stuff, is to experiment, is to play, is to,
pursue your interests. If you feel like you're too lazy to get up from the couch to close something, try to close it with your mind. I don't know. It might work. If it works, let me know. Tell me how you did it.
I love it. What do you think about, kind of on our last little thing here, what do you think about like traditional business stuff versus intuitive business? Like, do you think the two marry well? Do you use tactics from both? Like, how do you kind of run your business with that? Is it mostly intuitive? Is it mostly kind of business marketing?
All intuitive.
All intuitive. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like you just have to get so clear on what you are naturally good at, because like, that's for a reason. I'm naturally good at speaking, writing, storytelling. I'm a Gemini. Like, those are things that just come so naturally that I wasn't necessarily praised for growing up. I got in a lot of trouble for talking, actually, but but like, starting this podcast, so many more people have found me because people need to hear what I have to say. Like, I don't have this gift for no reason. So I think really leaning into those gifts, like identifying and leaning into like, what are the gifts I already have and how can I lean into those more? And I don't think that traditional business structures are set up to support the individual.
Yeah.
I just don't like, I've never heard of like a marketing strategy based off like, you're really good at talking.
Oh my God. I remember though, in corporate, when I would do those self-reflections, that's what I would come up with. Like, well, okay, so I'm really good at like connecting with people.
And look at what we do.
And
look at what we do now.
And I'm like, how can I make a job out of that? And I was trying to find like a career, like content strategy. It's kind of like storytelling. It's, I did like community management. So I was like talking with people in like, big communities online and managing that. And it was like getting closer, warmer, And then it's like, even here now with Spirit Babies, like this feels like hot potato hot, but also like what more is going to come out of this,
I mean, both you and I talked about like, we kind of are leaning into those gifts and like, oh, look what we've created, these businesses where we get to really connect and talk to people and like use our witchy gifts. We love it. And now it's more like, okay, what's actually going to be more fulfilling for me is working with people over a longer period of time. So like really building these relationships is like phase 2 of our careers.
I love it. Now, how do you help people like discover their gifts?
In the course, the Intuitive Entrepreneur, also in Intuition Unblocked, I feel like your gifts could really come through.
Yes, true.
They could. I feel like that's why I have a bundle for the two of them, because they marry so well together.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a third course coming out. Spoiler, you heard it first.
Spoiler,
you heard it first. But that like the whole first module that I released with this limited release of the Intuitive Entrepreneur is all about who you are. It's like your astrology, how to pinpoint what's in your astrology chart that's actually important for business and how to use it. It's just like getting you reacquainted with what you came in with. These are your gifts.
Love it.
These are your contracts. These are your skills. Here's how you identify them, and like really marinate in that. And so then realistically from that place, what kind of a business do I want to create? Who can I really help with these gifts I already have?
Yeah. And then they can work with you to kind of like help ideate that, work through some, based on all this cool stuff, like what I want to do. Because I think for me, like this might be where you are, you don't even realize that you have gifts or that they are gifts because they've been with you your whole life. It's just kind of like who you are. And then you realize like, oh, other people can't write like me or talk or communicate like me or do this kind of stuff. And so you start to realize like you have this enhancement, and it's not like comparative. It's just that like from your past lives and experiences and what you want to do this lifetime, you've given yourself this stuff. So it's like, it's our birthright, as people say. I love that. It's our birthright, but it's our birthright to know like why we're here and what we're supposed to be doing and what we signed up for,
It's also,
you don't have to, but it's,
you don't have to. No, none of this is mandatory.
It's kind of like, you can just play the game, or you can like read the rules and then play the game.
Right. Or you can make your own game.
You can make your own game. You can throw out the rules and take the Monopoly money and just go, woo, like I used to do.
Yeah.
I used to do that with Monopoly money. I would make it rain.
I love that.
I do that now with real money.
I think you should always have a money shower at least once a month.
I want one of those money guns.
Money gun?
Oh my God, I want one so bad. Please, Santa, bring that for me for Christmas.
I feel like going through setting up your own business and identifying what your gifts are. And like the first step is knowing that you want more out of a career. Like we spend so much time and effort in a career. Why wouldn't you want to capitalize on ease? You already have these gifts, but it's also kind of a form of reparenting, because maybe you weren't praised for these gifts. I was not praised for talking. I was not a prodigy talker. Like, but it is actually a gift. And like, I get to incorporate it in this job I've created. So I feel like setting up your own business is a form of reparenting. What do you think?
I love that idea. And it's absolutely true, because you will figure out all the things that your parents told you about work, career, money, everything as you develop your own career. So I would say like, be ready for that possible experience that you will start to uncover those things. I think I worked a lot with you in the very beginning when I first started working with you around moving stuff around money and work can be fun. And I still move stuff around that.
Yeah.
But like this idea of just like, you know, like you don't realize how many layers you have picked up. And that's kind of what I want to say too, is like, it's not your fault, right? Like
it's your conditioning.
Yeah, it's your conditioning. So it's like, if you're like banging your head against a wall or whatever, like go find somebody, go work with somebody, go inside, you know, yourself and internalize that, because it's like, you know, like a lot of like the spiritual people are like, the universe isn't punishing you.
No,
they're not like, mwahaha, this isn't for you. You know, it's like, no, you can have everything and anything. And if you hit a wall or you hit a struggle in your journey, like that's for you to go uncover, solve, help. Like that's why they're there.
Absolutely.
We put struggles, we put challenges, we put things on our timelines as well.
On purpose.
Like hurdles, like, okay, you know, I want to be able to jump over this next time. You know, I want to be able to like not be bothered by that, you know, or if you trip, you know, oh gosh, you know, what do I learn? I got to tighten my shoelace, you know?
Yeah. And like, how much more fun would investing effort into your career be if it was easy, because you already have these gifts?
Yes.
You are already a natural at your dream job. You are already a natural.
See why I love Natalie? Like, she's just so inspiring. I'm just like, that's right.
I am. Like you are.
It's true. It is. It's true. And it's like what I feel from that comment too is like, let's have fun, people.
Yeah,
let's enjoy this body. Let's have fun. Let's make a lot of money, a little money. Let's spend time with our loved ones. Let's go on vacation. Like, let's help other people in the world till we all rise up. Like, let's do it all.
I agree. Let's do it. I am moving forward. Big 2022 energy.
Oh man, okay. We haven't talked about our live show yet. We're going to do it next week.
Next week. We're recording it the week that this comes out. So look at our podcast Instagram, look at our personal Instagrams. We're going to be shouting it out. I'm going to be putting it in my email. So if you're on my email list, you will receive the date and like a link to join. We're doing it.
We're doing it. And then towards the end of the year, we're going to talk about astrology in 2022 and what's coming up. So that should be fun. Yeah,
I'm really excited about that actually.
Yeah. And like, if you're planning to start a business or open up something or whatever, like, let us know. We want to like hear I'm kind of excited to hear like what the collective is bringing. Like, that's kind of my push for people. Like whenever I meet people and like my spirit guides tell me like, oh, they're intuitive. I'm like, what you doing about that?
Yeah. Why are you not using it?
Yeah. You know, and I'm scared, I'm this and that. And I'm like, okay, like, let's help you get unscared so that you can do this stuff. Because like, I just got this Reiki haircut and I was like, I want more people doing Reiki haircuts where I can receive this beautiful healing and intuitive downloads and get this ceremonial experience with my hair. That's the world I want to live in. So,
me too. I love that. I love that she's like blending her gifts with her interests. Like, I'm interested in cutting hair, but like naturally I'm really good at moving energy. It's like, I'm just going to do both.
It is literally my favorite example of like taking, you know, the spirit and the real world, so to speak, and like combining, and because she does regular haircuts too, right? You know, so it's like, that's the other thing too. It's like, you can do your regular thing, but you can add this like enhancement. You can be a pelvic floor therapist, and then you can add in channeling the spirit baby realm and talking to the womb if you want.
Absolutely. Doing some womb work. Maybe you're a womb witch and a pelvic floor therapist.
And maybe you found pelvic floor therapist because it was safe and explainable.
Yeah.
But you really are a womb witch. And so if you feel that tingling, please explore it, friends.
And you also don't need a boss to work within your scope. So if you want to start your own business as a pelvic floor therapist, contracted entrepreneur, you can do it.
And if you need inspiration or motivation or help, like, let us know.
Yeah,
because we're here. We've been through it. We want to pump you up.
I want to pump you up. 2022 is going to be really fun. Lots more
is.
things crumbling. So get ready.
Eating popcorn like,
It's on fire.
Toasting marshmallows on the fiery remains of society. Fun.
Big 2022 energy.
All right. With that, we are out.
We're out. We'll see you next week. Excited to connect with you more in the live Q&A.
Bye.
Bye.